They didn't meet in the first round, but it was certainly going to be a big clash of these two as we set the scene now. Last Sunday at Belmore Sports Ground, wet your lips, it's the Eels and the Bulldogs.
Thanks for joining us and welcome to the NEC big game in round 23 of the Winfield Cup between Canterbury, Bankstown and Parramatta, with today's match from the Belmore Sports Ground. Well, only 1 point separates the two clubs that have dominated the rugby league scene since the turn of the decade. The Eels on top with 32 currently, and they're one in front of the Bulldogs, who are jointly on 31 with Manly and Souths. It was round 10 when they played at the stadium, and Canterbury were absolutely too good, running out victors 21-12. And with their sights set on a third straight premiership win, they come into this match after a victory last weekend over Canberra. Their full team is Michael Hagan at fullback, Frendo, Andrew Farrer, Chris Mortimer, Steve O'Brien, Terry Lamb, Steve Mortimer, Paul Langmack, David Gillespie in 22, Dunn as the other second rower, Paul, Peter Kelly and Peter Tunks are the props, and the hooker, believe it or not, is Jeff Robinson. The Eels, at their last outing on Monday night under lights at the stadium, they went down 12-8 to the Never Say Die North Sydney Bears. And here's their team cut about as it is. Delroy as the fullback, Barnes comes onto the flank in 17 for Growth, Cronin and Jackson in the centres, Chalmers as the other winger, Tony Casado 5/8 for Kenny, Sterling, Price, Muggleton, Sharp, Lee Beater, Mosley and Bugden. I reckon there's 7 regular first graders watching the match from the benches. The referee for the NEC big game today is Phil Cooley. Canterbury running from right to left as Terry Lamb kicks off. He gets the uprights. He's going through very fast, Lamb, and was very, very close to pulling off probably what would have been the most freakish of tries ever. And he's left a Parramatta player injured after the contact. It's fullback Delroy. Farrer. Across to Mortimer now. He realises the fullback is receiving attention. Going across is Barnes. He lets it go. It'll come out to the 22 for the restart by Parramatta. Still Delroy is getting assistance from the trainer. He went in to take that ball. He covered it in the most professional manner. And Terry Lamb, of course, he was helter-skelter after the same thing, and it was purely accidental. Sterling, now they switch it around, and Muggleton goes up the middle. Muggleton to play it on his own 32. Peter Tunks is injured for Canterbury as it goes to Sharp. And Sharp is driven into the ground by 3 Canterbury defenders. Tunks is still down. He's in a lot of pain. Ball goes to Muggleton for the kick. Hagan with the number 1 on his back today is back and tackled on the halfway. There's Tunks getting some attention from the Canterbury trainer.
Inclusion of John Muggleton in the Parramatta side today certainly gives them a lot of variety in their play. He's a good ball handler, he can set up play, and he's got a good kicking game as well. So it's going to create a few extra problems for Canterbury.
Tunks back on his feet, and he's coming back to the point of the scrum. Breeze coming behind Canterbury in the first half as the penalty goes to Parramatta. He explains to Captain Steve Mortimer his reasons. I can assure you that Parramatta were anything other than happy with Cooley's performance last Monday night at the stadium. They claimed that he didn't keep the 5 metres, both sides of the ruck. Back now for Sharp and away for Lee Beater, and then to Sterling. Sterling taking a lot of attention from Farrer. And here's a penalty going for inside the 5 against Canterbury. Well, that's pretty much what the complaint from the Parramatta camp was last Monday. They claimed that he wasn't checking both sides of the ruck, and on that occasion he looked like a traffic cop, Cooley. He caught them on the blind, and Cronin will take the attempt at Kenny. Tony Casado, just over 12 months ago, he was playing 5'8" for the Ashcroft High School in the Commonwealth Bank Cup final, and there he is in the famous Parramatta number 6 jumper. Cronin's about 15 metres in. He's 22 out. Left the boot all right, but he's hooked it. Will come out now for the 22 dropout by the Bulldogs. No score in this big match between Canterbury and Parramatta. Now it's to Steve Mortimer. Bugden and Price making the tackle on the Canterbury captain. Tunks now got a bad pass. Price and Sharp make the tackle together with Leabeater. And now it's Kelly's turn. They're using up plenty of tackles. They're on 5 now, and they're 11 metres out from their own line. Chris Mortimer. His kick is a good one. It's going down over the head of Chalmers and finding touch just on the Parramatta side of halfway. Chris Mortimer, the kicker. Brad Kenny, one of those 8 Parramatta players out of this team. And Parramatta win the scrum, and it's with Delroy, the fullback. Casado. Oh, he got knees in the kidney area. Chris Mortimer. Now, Price could finish in the sin bin here. Got Chris Mortimer's right knee firmly in the kidney area, but then Ray Price, he mouthed off at the referee, and Cooley has given the penalty to Canterbury. Yes, he's giving the indication clearly now. It's against Ray Price for mouthing off at the referee. I can understand why Price would have become heated over what he saw, but it would be very hard to suggest that Chris Mortimer did it intentionally. Certainly Tony Casado is none the better for it. But you certainly can't afford to get offside with a referee with a sharpshooter of Lamb's ability 32 metres out right in front, or maybe 33 metres. One of the game's finest players, this man, Terry Lamb. He must again be a frontline contender to take out the Dally M award, an award that he's already won once. The kick by Lamb, it's getting away, and no goal, but he sent it dead. So still no score in this battle between Canterbury and Parramatta. Take it outside the 32. O'Brien stays with him. He gets a one-hander away to O'Brien, inside to Langmack. Langmack tackled by Casado. The ball dropped by Sterling. It's going to be a scrum. And while Sterling was trying to pick the ball up, Gillespie hit him with another very heavy tackle. But here was Hagan getting the pass away. He evaded 3 high tackles. O'Brien went down the right flank, or the left flank, I should say. Langmack couldn't take it. Parramatta have since won the scrum, and Casado is away from one. He's outside the 32. Neither side giving an inch. Both defending very stoutly. This is Mosley. Leabeater. It's a match where neither can afford to make stupid mistakes, and they both have, losing the ball on early tackles. It's a game where I firmly believe the old adage that the team who has the football for the longest period will win the match. But they've both fallen into Here is as Muggleton gets it to Price. Barnes is with him. Price tackled. Beautiful tackle by Steve Mortimer. 5 tackles gone. Away for Sterling. Sterling puts the kick up high. Came off Lamb. He's juggled it. Casado's got the ball. They've got 6 more tackles, Parramatta. They've got to push the ball to the left. Sharp as the dummy half. Long ball to Sterling. Sterling holds it up, gets it to Jackson. Jackson is tackled. Still a couple of metres out from the Canterbury line. Mosley away to Sterling. Sterling then to Delroy. Delroy dropped the ball. Delroy dropped the ball over the line. See it again. Maybe he grasped the ball prior to getting to the actual try line, and it was then that it came from his fingertips. Canterbury back with it now. Robinson, the dummy half. Steve Mortimer, Terry Lamb. It's Kelly, good pass away to Langmack. Now it's gone away for Gillespie. A short ball then to Steve Mortimer. Paul Dunn. Chris Mortimer. Tackle by Jackson. Gets it back for Paul Dunn. Exciting football. Steve O'Brien is tackled about 9 metres into Parramatta's territory, and that brings a round of applause from the crowd. Tunks. Midway, 22 halfway. Parramatta's entered the field. Steve Mortimer. A chip over the top. Delroy, you can almost see him hobbling back, feeling the pain of that cork muscle. He comes out 15 metres and met by Langmack and Robinson. Jackson. Dunham Tunks making the tackle. He's Bugden, one of the Parramatta bookends, as they're affectionately known. He and Terry Leabeater. Sterling, Ray Price, Sterling. He jinks and gets through an opening, puts Casado down the ground about 5 more metres. Cronin is the dummy half. They're stacking the blind side as it comes to the open, and Sterling puts the kick onto the blind side. And it's going to find touch, is it? No, it stopped and came back in. Chalmers goes quickly. And Hagan is tackled by Chalmers on the 22 line. 26 minutes gone and still no score. And keep in mind that Canterbury have had the benefit of a very strong wind. I never did ask Graham to put a points value on it, but I think I'd be guessing right if he said 7 or 8, Graham.
Oh, without a doubt, I'd say 8 minimum. I've been surprised the amount of football that Canterbury have been prepared to play up in their own quarter line. I've been looking for early tackles, and here it is again. They're still trying to throw this ball around. They've come up with a mistake, and Parramatta are up with another great chance.
Graham, I must say I'm surprised, because Canterbury really have cut their teeth on strong forward play, hitting the ball up for yardage, but today they seem to be more intent on moving the ball out wide.
Well, especially near their own quarter line with mistakes like this, Bill. Such a strong forward pack, they could afford just to use, say, 2 tackles up. They've got 3 option kickers. They've got, well, 4 if you really want to take it to the fullest extent. Mortimer, Lamb, Chris Mortimer, and Michael Hagan. Any one of those can be putting the ball downfield.
So, Ray Price and Paul Langmack are the 2 men involved in this little cameo. It's certainly not developed into anything like we've grown accustomed in recent weeks, but here was the ball that went straight through the tunnel. Price scooped it away. Langmack appeared to get a left on him, and then Ray Price, with his face in the mud, was prepared to let one go. He certainly wasn't in a hitting area at the time. The penalty goes to Parramatta. Cronin now, about 15 metres in. It left the boot all right, but it's a goal. I thought it was getting away, looking at the way Cronin was looking at it. There's the first points. Parramatta 2, Canterbury, no score. You're watching the NEC big game from Belmore. Pretty costly couple of points for Langmack to give. It wasn't as if he got a good shot on Price either. This is Barnes. He's running strongly but across the ground. Now it's Mosley. Well, the scrums 4-0 to Parramatta. The penalties 3-all. No scrums won against the feed though, so you know that statistic doesn't really mean that Warren Ryan has got a scrummaging problem. He may well have one, but you can't blame Robinson or the scrum for losing them against the feed. Sterling's kicking behind O'Brien. Price is going fast from onside. Yeah, well that's great enthusiasm. Casado's down to the 22 line. Good defence again by Steve Mortimer. He stuffed out a couple of would-be tries with some very good defence. This is Sterling.
I'm going to tell you, some of these Canterbury forwards are very slow getting back into position.
Here's a penalty going to Parramatta. Well, he must have ruled that this ball has come from one Canterbury player onto another who was offside. Cronin taking the attempted penalty. He's ruled the Canterbury players inside the 5 at the play the ball when Casado played it. It was really a case of a referee using a discretion of what is the advantage. He allowed them to be inside the 5 until Parramatta lost that advantage and then gave the penalty. So here's Cronin now. That one looks good. Cronin gets the 2 points, and Parramatta, off the boot of Michael Cronin, lead 4 points to 0. Of course, Parramatta in this match today, they fully realise that if they are to lose, it is possible for them to go from team number 1 today to team number 4 tonight. Lamb's kick will find touch deep inside Eels territory. Crucial period of the game. Canterbury desperate for points. Parramatta equally desperate to keep them out. Sterling tackled out on the 10-metre line.
Well, I wouldn't expect this breeze to stop any in the second half, and Peter Sterling with his magic right boot, he'll drive Canterbury crazy in the second half.
No marker from Canterbury. There's little things that are unfolding. And I'm not picking on Jeff Robinson, I think unfairly, but you can see how they're missing a bloke like Billy Johnston. Not only for his dummy half play and his hooking, but little times like that. They've dropped off having a marker. Things that you know Billy Johnston does as second nature.
And they're not making that cheap and easy yardage with bursts out of the dummy half area that Billy Johnson or a Mark Bugden could produce for them.
Here's Hagan. And Sterling is around the bootlaces. Casado's up the top with Mosley. A very young Parramatta backline from Casado right out to the flanks. Here's Terry Lamb. Flick passes for Andrew Farrer. He beats Lee Beater, gets it over, then to Gillespie. On it goes to Hagan, then to Mortimer. And Mortimer is hit from behind by Muggleton. Now it's Tunks running the blind side. Langmack's inside him, Frendo's outside. And Peter Tunks is tackled down on the Parramatta 32-metre line. With just on 5 minutes of the half remaining, Paul Dunn goes ahead. Up to the 22.
That's what they need more of, some of these forwards that are more prepared to make the unattractive runs.
Dunn to play it. Steve Mortimer's gone to dummy half. A job that he's had to do quite a bit in this first half. Kelly plays it now. 5 gone for Canterbury. And again, Steve Mortimer is in a dummy half. He gets it to the blind side where Langmack dropped it onto the boot. And it's Sharp who takes the ball, but it's a penalty to Canterbury. It's a late tackle. by Parramatta, and he's calling Muggleton out to warn him about that tackle on Langmack. Not only was it late, but I think you'll find he's going to tell him there was an elbow in it. Of course, the penalty given where the ball landed. Canterbury opting not to kick for goal. Tunks. Langmack. Frendo. Oh, how easy. But he's ruled a forward. He's ruled he's gone into touch, I do believe, Frendo. Well, the touch judge's flag went up. Five gone. Only 10, eh? Well, his contribution in other areas has been quite magnificent. Sterling puts the kick up very high. I was going to say it might bring rain. Let's hope it doesn't. Good thinking. Well, there are plenty of it, and talking of that, Belmore has recovered magnificently from it. Here's Farah. Tunks. Tackled by Sharp and Bugden. Parramatta has been going up in an umbrella fashion of defence, and they have managed to drive Canterbury back in. Is Parramatta coming up with some loose ball? That will take us to half-time. In fact, there's the siren. So at half-time, Parramatta leading by 4 points to 0 as we take a half-time comment from Graham Hughes.
A huge first-half performance here by Parramatta. They took a gamble by running into the breeze after winning the toss. But two players that have really left their mark on this first 40 minutes, as usual for Parramatta, Ray Price and Peter Sterling. They've been driving this Parramatta pack, and Canterbury do have their problems, of course, around the dummy half position, but you can't take anything away from the enthusiasm of this Parramatta side today. Canterbury Bankstown certainly started out as favourites, but they turn around in this next 40 minutes as the underdogs. Parramatta leading 4-0. They've made one change. Peter Ford, a cousin of Michael Cronin, is on in 16. He's taken the place of Tim Barnes, the winger, which leads me to think that Michael Delroy, the fullback, made a rapid recovery from that cork muscle. There's the tackle counts. Very high, aren't they? But both these units know something about defence, and they also know that you've got to make plenty of tackles before you're even a hope of winning a game of rugby league. Of course, the reason it's up so high, they don't hit in ones, they hit in 2s, 3s and 4s. These two clubs, particularly Canterbury. Now Kelly.
There's a change already, and those three play the balls. Michael Hagan, the fullback, went to dummy half, gave a good service for Canterbury to try and get the ball out of their own quarter, and he's there again. So Warren Ryan, he's identified that dummy half area as a problem, and he's tried to rectify it.
Played by Tunks, and it's Robinson doing what he likes doing best, and that is running with the football. This is Gillespie now. Of course, that play of having a dummy half, a fullback dummy half, is very much a Jack Gibson hand-me-down. You've often seen Paul Taylor come up from fullback to go dummy half for the Eels. This is Delroy making some good ground. He'll play it on the first 5 metres on his side of halfway.
Well, Canterbury are going to need a dummy half, and a good one, because they're going to need to do a lot of hitting of the ball up.
Well, that was terrible tackling by Canterbury. Chalmers has tackled just into Canterbury's territory, but Jackson fended off a couple of Canterbury attempts at tackle. You swear blind that the two culprits didn't know anything about tackling.
Just to finish that off, Ray, Canterbury will need to be doing a lot of hitting of the ball up in this half, because Peter Sterling's going to kick the ball and kick the case off it.
Leabeater showing it to Casato before taking the tackle. Well, interesting, in the first half, Sterling kicked, well, Parramatta kicked, I should say, 17 times, Sterling 11 times. And keep in mind, they were running into the breeze, as you see Sterling kick again and finds touch. Canterbury, on the other hand, only kicked 10 times, running with the breeze in the first half. So they're quite out of balance, those statistics, aren't they? Gillespie. And Parramatta had double markers there. It was allowed to go. This is done over the halfway.
Now, that's more like the Canterbury of old, hitting the ball up in the middle of the rucks and getting yardage there.
Mortimer, Robinson running off a pivot. Good ball. Langmack, choice of players from Hagan to Mortimer. And Steve Mortimer, he's passed the ball. Parramatta's come up with it. Well, I was about to put the binoculars down in agreement with that old cliche, put away your glasses. In fact, I had put mine down. I just thought the little fellow would scamper over and score. He put his ears back. He saw Chalmers coming. He looked to pass, got it away, and he got it to Brian Jackson. It then went to Chalmers. And what seemed like a certain 6 points blowing out the back door. So a scrum to go down 10 metres out from the Parramatta line.
The end result of that break wasn't a good one for Canterbury, but the way they did it, I think, deserves mention. And they did it on the fringe of the rucks. They hit the ball up hard. Mortimer made the split, looked inside and found Hagan, and then it was Steve Mortimer backing up in the centre that almost came up with a try. If Canterbury are going to win this game, that's where they'll do it.
Feed across against Mosley. Canterbury to take the differential. Tap by Mortimer, decides he'll take the first himself, plays it. Kelly, he's down on the second.
Tell you what, I think Warren Ryan's given a few of these forwards a rocket at half-time.
Played back to Hagan, away to Langmack. Langmack goes for the line. He can see it, but he can't reach it. Langmack to play it. That's the third tackle for Canterbury. Tunks might have a go himself. He does. He gets the ball out the back. Steve Mortimer dives over. Steve Mortimer is under the crossbar. Big Tunks, as we've seen so often from him, he had a go himself. He couldn't make it. Got the ball back for Mortimer.
Tunks tried to use Langmack as a shepherd here. He rolled off the Parramatta defence, slipped the ball back to Mortimer, and he speared over under the black dot.
Stevie Mortimer, the try scorer. Terry Lamb will have no troubles converting the Mortimer try. Terry Lamb gets the extras. Steve Mortimer's try has been converted. Canterbury lead 6 points to 4. Cronin kicks off to get the match back underway. Hagan gives it to Frendo to take it back. And with Canterbury back on their own 10-metre line, let's take you to Graham Hughes. He's with Brett Kenny.
Brett, I don't guess that comeback by Canterbury is any surprise to you?
No, we thought they'd come back pretty strong in the second half. They did to us in the first round, but, I think if we can hold them
Terry Lamb
in their half, they're a big chance.
Michael Hagan over the halfway, and he goes down 35 metres out from the Parramatta line. Canterbury on the attack. 4 Parramatta players still getting into an onside position as Steve Mortimer is tackled midway 22 halfway on the Parramatta end of the ground. This is Robinson. Gets it back and away from Langmack to Dunn. Dunn tackled by Cronin. 5 tackles gone for Canterbury. Steve Mortimer, Terry Lamb. Now it's David Gillespie. He has the ball taken from him, and it's Mosley who dives on it. As we go back to Brett Kenny, who was drowned out there by the crowd as Canterbury made that break.
Brett, obviously that Warren Ryan hasn't missed these. Canterbury forwards were something to be said at half-time.
No, that's right. They're playing pretty strong now in the second half, and I felt our forwards went really well the first half. But to Canterbury's credit, they've come back pretty strongly, and I think it's just up to us now to try and get back on top.
Were you aware of any chat in the Parramatta room to decide to run into that breach?
No, I didn't. Have no idea what they were going to do in the first half, so I didn't hear him mention anything about running against the Bruce.
Any surprise to you?
Well, it is a little bit, considering the strength of the Bruce, and I thought, we'd try and get as much advantage as we could, but I don't know, John May's obviously got other plans.
What about Brett Kenny with that ankle problems now? I guess we're all geniuses in hindsight. Should you have played last Monday night?
Well, I felt I was okay, but probably through the game, I probably shouldn't have played. You know, the way it was going, every time I got tackled, I heard it. But they decided to give me the week off, and they thought perhaps I could have played, but it was just never going to get any better. So they give me the week off, and hopefully that should be right. It should be right for next weekend.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Thanks, mate.
He's muggled in from dummy half, unable to make any ground. The line is just 8 metres away. Price still getting attention. Sterling, Sharp. 5 tackles gone, and Sharp has lost it, but it's a penalty to Parramatta. Stealing the ball against Canterbury, the ruling. Against Gillespie and Kelly. So still Ray Price is getting attention. Looks like he's working on his right ankle. I've seen this sight many times in rugby league. Ray Price, the warhorse. You can almost add Cronin and Price's ages together, and it probably would exceed the sum total of some of the youngsters in that back line with Cronin. It's a goal by Cronin, so it's 6 points all between the Bulldogs and the Eels. The NEC big game from Belmore. That's Ford. 6 points all. Lee Beater. Sterling. Hagan going across to pick it up. Mosley makes the tackle together with Sterling. Now it's Lamb on the run around O'Brien, met by Lee Beater and Sterling. He's having a huge game, Sterling. Kelly. Ray Price with
The Cumberland throw.
the Cumberland throw. And Kelly is hurt, clutching there at his hip. Let's have a look and see whether the arms come in contact first. Jove, it's a touch and go decision. Price, I think he got sent off at the sports ground once. Ford, he won't want to leave picking it up too much longer. Canterbury have got the ball. Now it's Lamb. He kicks ahead. Sterling's back to cover. That'll be a 22-place kick. Well, he's all over the ground, Sterling, today. He's doing the work of 3 men. He's the kicker. He's the tactician. He goes back to full-back to clean up. Certainly one of the greatest footballers that I've had the pleasure of seeing, and he's out there today rubbing shoulders with some other greats, including Mortimer and Lamb. But right at this point of his career, I don't know of a player pound for pound that's better than him. Sharp now, 10 metres his side of the halfway. Sterling, Lee Beater, Sterling on the run around, Jackson. They've had little or no success, Parramatta, trying to crack Canterbury out wide. The charge down, Lee Beater comes up with it for Parramatta. Six points all. Cronin. Jackson met by Farah. Tunks came over the top. Price. Tackled by Robinson and Farah. Now it's Sharp. Parramatta Stadium, the venue tomorrow night for Balmain and Penrith. Penrith utilising the stadium for their home game. That kick from Muggleton finds touch. Oh, very deep into Canterbury's territory. Right in front of the scoreboard here at Belmore. Same tunnel, he wants it again. Won by Canterbury. Steve Mortimer tackled by Mick Delroy. This is Langmack outside the 22, so they've gone some 15 metres on 2 plays. This is done, and now they're out to the 32 on 3 rucks. That's a lot of ground to make, and now it's Gillespie on the 4th. Back for Steve Mortimer, across for Terry Lamb. And Lamb is bottled up there by Muggleton and Delroy. 5 gone. The ball spun back to Chris Mortimer. He puts the kick in between Sterling and Ford. And here's Ford now. Up towards the halfway. Bloodied faces at the moment. Ray Price for one, bleeding from the head. Lamb, I think, has got blood on his face. Lee Beater. It hasn't been one of those games where you've got that spectacular attack where several players handle and all of that. It's just a case of 2 very good defensive sides cancelling each other out. Sterling's kick for drop goal. By Jove, that's a big kick from Sterling. It left the boot and the wind just kept blowing it down the ground. That line is the 40-metre line, and it just kept getting a push along. It cleared the crossbar, so Parramatta lead by 7 points to 6, a drop goal by Sterling. Now Peter Johnston has gone out in 24 as Peter Kelly comes from the ground. It's gone across now to Casado. Lamb takes it from him. He's tackled just outside the 22. Steve Mortimer, Paul Dunn.
That could well be the turning point in the match. Stolen ball by Terry Lamb, and there's some of the things that often go unnoticed.
Hagan. 6 more tackles. So Parramatta building an enormous pressure for themselves. This is Chris Mortimer. Dunn. 6 metres from the line. Johnston. 4 metres out.
I don't know if Canterbury will be happy to make it a 7-all draw and kick a field goal. Maybe they're looking to get their nose in front.
Tunks is tackled on 5, a metre out.
Tunks will play this forward. Whoops.
Steve Mortimer, the long ball. They've got the numbers. Chris Mortimer throws the dummy. I think he's short. Turnover of possession.
Yeah, Peter Tunks got up very slowly then to play the ball, and from my experiences with him in the past, that's when he's going to kick the ball forward and look for a try by diving through into the end goal.
Played by Jackson. Terry Lee Beater unable to continue. Let's have a look at the incident where Lee Beater was tackled by Peter Johnston. Number 9 coming in for Canterbury. And Lee Beater getting some attention on that left ankle. Crowd of 17,300, upwards of that figure here at Belmore today. Sharp to play it. They're 20 metres out. Now it's Bugden. Away now to Price. Price to Muggleton. Muggleton steps. Price, the dummy half. And he's about 12 metres out from the line. That's 5 gone. Sterling to the right, Muggleton to the left. Here's Sterling. He kicks back onto the blind side. Oh, it's going to be Casado. That's got to be a penalty. It's got to be a Canterbury penalty. It came off Casado down to Chalmers. Very good piece of refereeing by this young man. It was a great kick by Sterling. Big Casado went up. Down it came off him onto Chalmers. That's a penalty. Dead set. Now, Graham, you've got the change for Canterbury.
Tony Curry out there for Canterbury in 14. The instructions were for him to move to the centre. The instructions were to Canterbury to finally set this back line up and get this ball out wide. Andrew Farrer, the man that's moved out to the wing, and Frendo off.
Played by the Bulldogs, 5/8. Peter Johnston, that's the third. Every tackle carries its own special brand of importance. As the seconds tick away, Hagan wide for O'Brien, and he's over the halfway line on 4. 2 metres into Eels territory. Hagan, Steve Mortimer, Terry Lamb, Curry, inside pass for Chris Mortimer. He got through a feeble attempt to tackle. That ball may have come off an Eel. Cooley indicating to his shoulder as Lebeater goes down. No, it's Sharp and Lebeater. In fact, they both went down momentarily for Parramatta. So it's Mortimer. Struck for by Parramatta. They've given the penalty. Terry Lamb will take the kick for goal that will probably send Canterbury to a 1-point lead. He's penalised Parramatta for striking in the play of the ball prematurely.
Well, this is a pressure kick. It's a tough kick at any time. 35 metres out into the breeze, but particularly with 5 minutes to go and 1 point behind on the scoreboard. I just wonder what's going through Terry Lamb's mind at this point in time.
Well, he's a man with ice-cool nerves, Terry Lamb. 1 from 2 for him.
Maybe the other 12 players are thinking that this is for a win bonus.
It won't worry Mr. Lamb, I'll give you a written guarantee. He mightn't get the goal, but I've got good news for you. It wouldn't be worrying him greatly. Metres in from touch. Got the breeze into his face. He's 32 metres out. There it goes. He's missed it. Oh, he's hooked it badly, Lamb. And it's Jackson who crawls back into the field of play. 7-6 in favour of the Eels. Who was the Parramatta player that gave the penalty? Was it Lebeater? I'm trying to think. The point I'm making is whoever it was, it was Ray Price that gave the penalty, we're told, but I'm just thinking to myself, I bet his heart did a double take as Lamb came in for the kick. So Parramatta have lost the ball. Mosley dives on it. Another chance coming up for Canterbury.
Well, Canterbury should win this scrum. They've got the feet in the loose head, and there is still something like 2 or 3 minutes to go. So they can make a decision whether they want to come up with a draw, with a 7-all field goal, or go for the win.
Steve Mortimer's going to feed the scrum. Parramatta's only got a 5-man pack, and Mosley's won it against the feed.
Well, that's a great scrum for Mosley to win. He didn't get a lot of help from his forwards. It was a great push by Canterbury, but he just beat the Canterbury hooker to the strike.
Yeah, Price, as I said to you in the commentary, Parramatta went in with a 5-man pack. Price is still receiving attention, and Mosley had to win one against the head, and he left it until right there to win it. That in fact was his second scrum against the head, but it was one that he just had to win. Peter Sterling says, let's get out of here. We've been here too long. That kick's going to find touch. Oh, that's a great kick by the little fellow. Peter Sterling, he kicked it from his own 10-metre line. He's found it on Canterbury's 22. And now Ray Price is on his feet and getting back towards the scrum. 2 minutes to go by our clock. Well, 7 points to 6. The Eels leading. They went into this match as a rank outsider.
That's his second one against the head.
In as many minutes. His third for the match, but he's second in as many scrums and in as many minutes. Casado is tackled just outside the 22. Peter Ford, right in the centre of the park on the 22. And here's Mosley again. He's played a major role, even if you just took into account that scrum that he won against the feed in front of his own uprights a couple of minutes ago. And only a couple of weeks ago he was dropped from first grade. Sterling, the kick across. Farah in goal. Chalmers wrestles with Farah. Farah beats him, and Farah's gone into touch. So Parramatta will have the head and the feed. Sterling has used that cross kick so many times in this second half. It was as if by instruction more so than design that he was kicking to young Frendo, the Canterbury winger, who has since been replaced. But he's consistently peppered that kick across the back into the blind side. Parramatta wins the scrum. Sterling tackled adjacent to the scrum base. Sterling has kicked 21 times in the match now, ladies and gentlemen. And each of them have been with pinpoint accuracy. Of course, there'll be those that say, my golly, he's got plenty of raps, but I don't think any rugby league lover would begrudge him. As the siren sounds, Parramatta have pulled off an amazing win. They didn't score a try, but they won the football match by 7 points to 6, with 3 penalty goals by Mick Cronin, a drop goal by Peter Sterling. Steve Mortimer scored for Canterbury. Terry Lamb converted, and Parramatta, they came here, as I said earlier, as rank outsiders, but they're going home with the Winfield Cup points